enthusiast user group. We're still virtual. So just a quick reminder of what our group is about. Our group's a product agnostic group. We mainly focus on the monitoring of applications, infrastructure, anything that, may help you get some observability or context into what's happening within your organization or business or home. We're always looking for speakers. So if you're interested in talking about something or sharing a story about monitoring or a tool that you use, feel free to reach out to me. I'm Richard Lewis. You can find me online at GoGoRichie, or you can email me at richard@gogorichie.com. So this month we have an awesome speaker. She's from Zoho Corp. I believe I'm saying that correctly. Her name is Raji, but she'll tell you exactly the name of her company and where she's from. And fun fact that I've learned about her is she's been there for a really long time. She's seen it from the beginning of when they started up until now they're a pretty big corporation. All righty. Raji, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Richard. It's great to be part of the community, and great to know during the introduction that you have formed this community so that we can, it's enthusiast people who meet together, get to know what's happening. And that's how we learn a lot. And I'm happy to be part of this group. I'll go ahead and quickly share my screen. Okay. Can you just confirm you're able to see my screen?
Looks great.
Okay, perfect. So since I'm sharing a screen, it's a usual tidbit that I had to share in the beginning. So if you're not able to, I can't see the people who are there in the Teams portal. So if you're not able to see my screen or not able to hear me clearly, see me clearly, please interrupt and ask me. Otherwise, like how every other virtual meeting has been happening in the past 3 years, I'm assuming there is or there are audience in front of me, and I'm talking to my laptop pinhole camera. So that's what I continue doing. That's how virtual meetings happen. In that sense, it's actually challenging. We don't know who's on the other side, and okay, we have to. It's difficult as a speaker, because if it is a physical meeting, it is great to have contact with people and see if people understood what I'm talking is making sense. Now, I think that's a challenge in virtual meeting, but at the same time, I'm able to do this sitting back here at home, Chennai, and connecting to the world, people joining or watching from different regions, different time zone, at a different later point in time as well, because we are recording the session. So anyway, those are the advantages, and thanks for accommodating us, and let's get started. So what I'll be doing today is for the next 35 minutes or so, I'll be talking about this topic, and then we can have an open discussion. Keep asking your questions, and at the end of the session, I'm happy to answer them. So as Richard was saying, this is going to be, I started my career as a developer, software developer, way back in 1999, 23 years ago. And throughout the journey, a lot of technologies have evolved. The way we do software itself has changed. And that's where we are in the company too. Even as an industry as such, we have seen a lot of evolution happening. So most of it based on my experience and what's coming up, and how are we adopting things in our own processes and in our own product sets, is something that I'll be discussing today. So the topics that I'll discuss are about the evolution of application architecture itself, to set a context of what we are talking and where we are from where we started to where we are today, and a little bit about the software development and the life cycle, and how cloud has changed it, future of work, what is seen as what is today and what will be the future of work, and then about observability. What is observability? In the monitoring space, we hear a lot about observability, and why is it important in SDLC, in your software development lifecycle. Then go ahead to talk about the full stack tools that are available for IT monitoring. let's get started with the first thing, that is the evolution of application architecture itself. So if I have to talk about the evolution of what is application, or why am I presenting this here? So any business, if you take, we revolve around, or any software development is revolving around building applications. Could be in any language, but we end up building an application. Could be a web application or a mobile application, but there is an application that we are building. And how was that happening way back, and how is it today? So if you have to talk about an application, even if I have to simplify it further, it's more like a simple client server architecture. So what is a client server architecture, or what did we have earlier, is something like this. We'll have a server component that resides, where the software that you write that resides in one corner of your physical office premise, and then a client component talking to each other. So that used to be the simple client server architecture. But with Web 2.0 picking up, Web 2.0 is somewhere around 2005 timeframes that I'm talking, 16, 17 years ago, where the web was not just considered a medium of consuming content, but the web was also considered a medium of contributing content. People started writing their own content or blogs and started uploading them, taking photos and videos and uploading. That's when the cloud itself started picking up. So during those timeframes, or after that, we started having our server, or the server component can be anywhere, and the client can be accessed from outside. So that's how the web started picking up. Then the client server technologies changed. Now that the server can be anywhere, it's not just refined or confined within your organization. There are a lot of public hosting cloud server providers that started picking up, where we focus only on our business or on our application. And in our application, we can run it anywhere across the globe. But this did not mean that everybody or every business moved to the cloud. It's still hybrid. What exists today, or what remains today, is hybrid. There are businesses that are completely on cloud. There are businesses that are still having some portion which they cannot take it to the cloud and on premise, and a hybrid version exists. All of them, both of them have to work together. So this is predominantly is what is in presence today. Maybe most of it is in cloud, and the percentages might vary, but the on-prem is not gone away. There are still businesses that are still on-prem, and a hybrid version exists. So if I have to put this transformation in a different perspective, what used to be a monolith architecture, where you have your business logic, your data access layer, your user interface, everything is one, even though they are different components, but they are one mega monolith architecture. If something fails, everything goes down. So that's what is a monolith architecture. From there, the businesses, or it's evolving to microservice architecture, where you can have each of these components, you can have as different containers, containerized environment, where you can have your business logic in one container, you can have your data accessing in one container, you can have a file access and a caching layer in another container, but still all of them work together. So if one failure in one may not impact the other directly, even though this looks very simple, I can deploy, I can spawn. If I have to make a change in one microservice, it's not that I have to bring down everything. I just have to change that microservice alone, and still things work. It might look simple, but the complexity lies in managing such an environment, monitoring such an environment. We'll talk about it later, but this is how transformation that is happening from monolith to microservice architecture. And going further, I don't even want a server. Serverless architecture is something that is picking up, and a lot of businesses are moving towards that too, where I just focus on only my function areas. I don't want to own any of the server component. I don't want a server. Still, I can build application. And the beauty there is, I can make use of the functions that are already available in different providers, plug and put them together. Maybe I can, for my login, for my account management, or for my IAM, I can use a account management, I can use a different function. For my payment portal, I can use another function. So I can mix and match and combine functions from multiple vendors and still build a application. So that's a serverless architecture because everything else is taken care by different providers and I can run my business. But not everybody has moved there. It's just these are different technologies that are available. People are exploring depending on their business needs. People might be moving. So this is the transformation that has happened in application development itself. So if I have to say what has the impact been on the cloud, the cloud and its impact on software development. At the end of the day, all of us are building softwares, developing softwares. I'm sure cloud doesn't need any introduction. Most of us have gone digitally. All businesses, most of the businesses are on the digital front because we want customers from across the globe. And possibly, I should say, this pandemic has only accelerated that. Those businesses that couldn't or that has not been moved digital has also moved. To give some examples, at least in India, children were not used to going to schools. Not used to doing things online. They were only going to school. But this pandemic forced all of those, and still we continued. We did not stop having our meetups, as Richard was pointing out. They joined together. They had few meetups, but then COVID came. Things stopped. But they started having online meetings. So all meetings most of them became virtual, and we continued, and the hybrid mode still exists. So every business has undergone a lot of transformation because of digital. Today, what is required is a high-speed internet connection and a mobile phone in your hand. You can do anything and everything from wherever you are in the world. You can do all software development or any business related activities. So that is the impact, or that is the transformation that has happened. So in building such a cloud architecture, because everything is moved digital, what are the various layers? How do I classify, or how do we classify a cloud architecture when you're developing? There are 4 layers. So the topmost for any cloud application that we are talking about. So Site 24/7 is one cloud application, and lot of different cloud applications. The tool that we are using, Microsoft Teams, is on cloud. So that's how we are connecting. So there are 4 different layers for any cloud architecture. The topmost is the end user layer, which comprises of your browsers, your mobile apps, or your tablets, using which you connect to the underlying application. So that's the application server which hosts the business logic. The actual business logic lies here. So all of us as business owners or a part of development team, any business that you want to start have to focus on this. Rest of it can be left to the providers to take care of. But you have to have that idea, and that idea has to be built as a business logic that resides in the application layer. And the next underlying layer is platform layer, which comprises of your caching servers, your NoSQL database, queues, microservices. All of them form the platform layer. There are providers who give this as service. That's a platform as service that is available. And underneath, bottommost is your infrastructure layer, which comprises of your physical servers, virtual servers, cloud servers, network, load balancer, firewall. Everything comprises the infrastructure layer, where actually the servers are there. Again, there are service providers for this layer as well. So if you put all this together and you are deploying an application, you may say, I'm only worried about my business logic, but you have to have an end-to-end visibility across all these layers. A problem in any of these layers is going to have an impact on your business because it is on the cloud. So if suppose your website is down or your web application is down, the problem could be somewhere because there is an ISP problem here. That's nothing to do with your application. The ISP, now we are having a meeting. If there is a problem or you're not able to hear me, see me properly, it could be because my ISP is having an issue, nothing to do with Microsoft Teams or people there who are organizing the event. So that you have to know where the problem is. Or it could be a loop that is happening in your application. The coding that has done has having some performance issues. Or it could be because the database connection, there is a leakage and you're not connected it properly. You're not cleaned the resources properly at the platform layer. Or a particular port and a switch is not working at the infrastructure layer. Any of these problems can have an impact on your business. That is why we say you have to, as DevOps person or as an IT administrator, you need to have an end-to-end visibility across all these layers. So let's move on to what's DevOps and what's SRE. There are different definitions. It's an infinite feedback loop, and I generally do a different representation. Let's quickly look at that. So there is a stream. They're called developers. I started my career as a developer. There are still people who does software development, whose typical job is to make sure that the application, they build the application, they make sure there are no errors in it, check the quality of the code, fix all the code level errors, bundle them, compile them, bundle them into a product. With that, mostly developers' role will be done. And they pass that to another person who's an operator who takes care of deploying the application, making sure the application is up and running, attending to customer complaints, looking into the performance of the application if it is performing fine, or analyze and find out where the problem is and fix them and troubleshoot them. So those used to be the operator's role. And maybe 10 years ago, there used to be this blame game of I've done my part correctly. When something goes wrong, it's your problem, and that vice versa. So that used to happen. But with cloud picking up, with a lot of tools available and technologies changing, these two roles merged. And that's how I see DevOps as a person who should have some amount of knowledge of what's happening in your development setup, to how it is being deployed and what is the problem that's performance problems that are happening. But as an individual, if you are playing this role, it is very difficult to know, or as shown in the figure, it's he or she is not a superhuman to know everything, sit in front of the system, monitor it is 24/7, look into things, what are happening. They have to make use of tools. There are a lot of monitoring tools available to make sure that the role is played properly. And that's what is DevOps. With cloud picking up, security at each of these layers. In a public cloud, security is important, not just at the application or at the infrastructure. From end to top to bottom, all the 4 layers that I talked about, security plays a crucial role. And that's how DevOps is changing to DevSecOps. We can have a separate section on what are the security aspects too some other time. But I am just saying DevOps is changing to DevSecOps. And SRE is more like, if I have to simplify and say it in a simple term, if DevOps is about what to do, SRE is about how to do them. So more on the reliability of part. So in Java terms, if I have to say, and developer front, SRE implements the DevOps interface. So where DevOps primary focus is on the a set of defining principles and focusing on delivery speed. SRE is more operation oriented and responds to incidences, monitor events and alerts, and their primary focus is the reliability part. So as I was saying earlier, I've just merged these 2 slides where the DevOps has to have a complete visibility of what is happening across all the layers, from end user layer to application to platform to infrastructure layer. So with that, I'm just setting the tone of the presentation. I've covered some 2 sections. Let's look at how the future of work is going to be. Maybe I was just analyzing what we are doing today. I was reading through different articles when I was preparing for this presentation. And so there were certain stats that caught my attention, and I thought I would share with everyone in this presentation. So every business, as we talked about, it's revolving around either two major people: customers, employees. We all say, okay, customer-focused business, but equally at the same time, employees are also people-focused, we can say. Every business is around that. So if you have to take customers, we have to keep them happy. Customer is a king. So happy customer is what is important. And employees have to have that empowerment, empowered employees. Happy customers and empowered employees are the need or are the center for any and every business. How do we do that? What are some things that are changing now, and how is it going to be in the future? So there was a stats that from Gartner article that talked about, which said 50% of all your new low-code client will come from business buyers that are outside the IT organization by 2025. So what this means is, it's not that the software that you are building, there has to be always IT people who are using it, whatever software that you're building. There could be even startups or low-code clients who want to use your software. So in that sense, which is nothing but the mobile adoption. So the first thing that people do today is they start to have a mobile app. So in your work or in your app development, make sure you're giving a good experience in mobile. So that is what is changing. The new generation are always on the mobile. Even if your web application is not working fine, the majority adoption is moving towards mobile. This is something which we have seen, and we have made sure we have included in our products. And that's what is going to be in the future too. So there was another study, data.ai, where there was what is the mobile adoption? These are the numbers in 2021, but it's definitely increasing, and it has to be different now in 2022, and we don't know how it's going to be in the future. Just few numbers which caught my attention, if I have to say. The new apps that are being downloaded, it's on the whole of 2021 was 230 billion apps, which means 435k apps are downloaded per minute. We don't know what are the apps and that are available, and this shows the impact of how mobile is getting popular and how people are adopting it in all the businesses across the globe. It's not just customer end-to-end B2C businesses, even in B2B businesses. So this is what that stat says. And the App Store spend, if you have to say, it's almost, this is the number that I saw. So 170 billion, the 2021, and it reduces to 320k per minute. So that's the spend that is being happening in App Store. There is a lot of scope. And the daily time spent per user, we have to say, it's 4.8 hours of time is being spent in mobile. 1/3 of every individual's awakened time is in front of the mobile. So this is the future that we are going to see, which means in all your businesses, we have to make sure whatever business, whatever apps that you're having works fine in mobile, has a better experience in mobile. So that is the trend that we are moving towards, which means digital first customers. Happy customer is fine, but digital first customer. So that's the future that it is moving towards. That's with respect to customers. What is with respect to employees? Employees are going to be hybrid. So there was a survey that was done where it said 97% would like to work remotely, at least in some of the time of the rest of their careers. Gone are the days where we can expect everybody to come back to work and sit in an office environment and do. This pandemic has changed that. At least some point in time, people would want to work remotely, which means it's going to be hybrid. Any meetings or anything that you plan, you have to make sure you are inclusive of people working remotely. So remote first employees. So you can't enforce everybody to come back to work. So the future is going to be, you have to have all your developments and all your deployment, whatever role they play, the employees, the meetings that they have, or the production setup that has to be debugged. Maybe all securities have to be put up tight in place, but you cannot ignore the remote working that is going to be there. So the future is most of it is digital first customers, remote first employees. So how have we adopted this, or how are we going to bring about a change in what we do so that we make sure that we don't have any hit in our business? Is a challenge. Maybe some businesses or many businesses have already adopted this. Some of them are still in the process. We as a company, Zoho, we had a policy. I mean, we can work from anywhere even before pandemic. We had most of the processes in place. Possibly some core development activities might require some VPN connection. Even after that, maybe few activities we may have to be in physical presence in office. But during pandemic, that was also, we made sure those frictions were ironed out and we can work from anywhere. So that requires a lot of change even in your software development lifecycle. You have to make sure that people are able to code in your software development and check into the repository, whatever you use, and make builds. All those have to happen smoothly, even if it is being done remotely. So the processes and the tools and the and or have to be in place, which we have done, and that's important. So the hybrid work environment exists. And what are some of the changes? If not, you're already done, you have to think of is in these 3 Ps. I call this as people, process, and the product. These 3 have to be adopted, or a small change have to be done so that the hybrid work environment is taken care. So in people front, as we were discussing, things have to move towards collaborative and cross-functional teams, and things have to still work. Processes, most of them have to be automated, and integrations and iterative model. When you're using a tool, it's not that you can completely replace an existing one. Integrations are important. And with respect to product, people are looking for a simple UI. I mean, a lot of places you may have to bring in simplicity, and that's a challenge. It's not easy to build something simple. So look, if it is very complicating, have some tools in place in your client to see the usage of it. See, everything have to be monitored, and metrics, and collect all the information. When you're having a product, and if people are not using it, then you will have to work on those. So for which the metrics will be helpful. Have simple UI, have AI enablement in most of the places, and bring it digital first. These are some changes that you have to be brought in the product front. So some changes have to be done with respect to all these 3: people, process, and product, how we look at it and how we build it, so that we are able to maintain this hybrid environment. And that's what is going to be future of work. And there are tools available for that to help. Choosing the right tool for your SDLC in a hybrid work environment is important, because the tool that you have plays an important role in your day-to-day activities. So at site 24/7, with proper tools in place and development and deployment, we were able to do 10x times more build updates than what we used to do 10 years ago. And it has only accelerated. As I was saying, we were able to do this even before pandemic. We were trying to do, and with more processes in place, this has only increased more. So we almost sometimes do 4 to 5 builds a day, where we used to take four days or a week to do a build update. That's possible because we have proper tools and processes in place. This is a simple development to deployment architecture that we used to have, because we are talking about software development life cycle. So we have different branches at all the layers, from your development branch layer to how you're having different setups for your deployment, pre-production setup, and what are the different testings that you have, what are the different automations that you have, so that you can catch any error, because it's a it's a SaaS model, it's a cloud environment. You cannot have any downtime. So all these are taken care. This is just an architecture diagram that we have. All this is done to to tell you that at all these layers, the tools that we had helped us to achieve 10x improvement. So let's look at observability. What is observability? Monitoring and observability are most of the time, there are, what we have been doing as monitoring is what is observability, but there is a small change. When we talk about observability, we have to talk about the 3 pillars of observability. So, which are nothing but, I'm sure most of us know this: metrics, traces, logs. So I'll just give a gist of what this means. Metrics, what are the metrics that you have to be collecting? There are 3 different types of metrics that have to be collected, I would say. First is your availability metrics. So availability is in the cloud environment, all resources have to be up and running. So it's not just your website. From website to your application to your infrastructure component, all of them have to be up and running. And industry standards expect 99.999% available. They have moved from 3 nines to 5 nines. That's how the industry has changed. All your resources have to be up and running. So that's the first one. But is availability fine? If I monitor for availability, is that sufficient? No. There's no point in having all your resources up and running if they are going to be performing very, very slow. Performance is important. We often say slow is the new down. None of us, including me, many people around, have the patience or time to sit and look at pages that are going to take forever to load. We don't do that. We just move to the next pages. So that's what we do. If it is taking more time, do a control refresh to make sure it loads fast. Industry standards expect a web page to load in 2 seconds or less. So if you are a business owner, you have your business and measure the performance of your website, and you know it is taking 10 seconds. That's your page that is taking. Where is it taking more time? Is it the time? Is this time being spent in the back end fetching data, or is the time being spent in the front end rendering of the images? You need to know where it is spending time so that you can fix and the tools can help. Performance is another metrics that have to be monitored. And the third metric is security. As we were talking about the importance of security, we need to measure and monitor security related metrics too. So when we talk about metrics, the metrics will vary depending on the underlying component that you're monitoring. But whatever component it is, you have to monitor for availability, performance, and security. And then the second pillar is trace. So as I was saying, if you know it is taking 10 seconds, you need to know the exact trace of where it is taking more time, the line of code that is causing issue. Your application can be written in any platform. It can be in Java, .NET, Ruby on Rails, PHP, Python, Go, any language. But you need to know exactly where the problem is. And in a microservice architecture, each of the container can run in a different application language. Your application can have one component running in Java, another component running in Ruby, but the transaction travels all these different components. You need to know exactly where the time is being spent, and that is what is called distributed tracing. So the third pillar is logs. All of us depend on logs when something goes wrong. Logs plays a crucial role, but in a distributed environment, it's very challenging for the DevOps person to go look at the logs in different systems across the globe, take remote control of those systems to see what is happening. Instead, collect all the logs, process it or store it in such a way it can be easily, quickly fetched to see where the problem is what is log management. Consolidating or collecting logs from any platform, do real-time processing, do all the analytics and store. In simple term, if I have to say, converting your unstructured data into structured data is what is log management. So the tool that you are selecting, you have to look into if it can support all these three: metrics, traces, logs. And those are called the three pillars of observability. So choosing the right monitoring tool is important. This is one of my favorite quote: "We shape our tools and the interns shape us," by Marshall McLuhan. So what this means is the tool that you have in your hand plays a major role in defining or in your day-to-day activities. If you have a hammer in your hand, everything looks like a nail. That's a screw over there, but because you have a hammer, you end up only hitting them. So choose the right tool for your needs. And when you're choosing the tool, there are three things that you have to look for in addition to what is that already: the metrics, data, traces and logs. I say look for ICE. I stands for integrable, C for customizable, E for extensible. So you're not going to replace your existing tool. Whatever tool you're choosing has to work with has to have all the integration options possible. You may want to raise, if you're using a monitoring tool, you may want to raise the alert as a ticket in a ticketing tool. Is that integration possible? So those are some things which you have to look for. Customization. People don't want to take the tool that is given as such. They may want to change the color, they may want to change the name of the button, or completely white label it. So all those customizations have to be there. And extensible is about giving API support. I don't want to look at the client that you are giving me. Just give me API support. I'll fetch the data. I'll push it into wherever required, or I'll build my own UI. I can drag and drop and customize my UI or build my own UI, and still it has to be functional and working one. So that is something that people are looking for. So when you're choosing a tool, you have to look if it has eyes in it. Keep it cool, integrable, customizable, and extensible. And if you are a person who's developing a tool, make sure you give all these options for your customers. So that's what is looking for eyes mean. And another aspect you have to look for is the transparency. Particularly in a monitoring tool, I've heard from some of our customers who used to say that everything looks green outside if you have a dashboard, but when you click and go inside, I can see something is wrong and that is hidden from me. So make it transparent. Even if something goes wrong, say it is going wrong. So the tool has to have such a capability. That's what I call as a watermelon effect: green outside and red inside. Instead, the tool has to be a kiwi, like a kiwi, both green outside and green inside, transparency. So the tool has to have transparency features, has to have automations, a lot of automation features, capabilities available, AI capabilities available, so that you make your customers' life easy. You may have to run a lot of scripts and make sure you do you even before the customers are impacted. You take care of actions, not just monitoring. Some amount of management capabilities is possible using AI and cost effectiveness. Choose the right tool. A lot of times we see that we end up using some resources. There are some stats that says even our infrastructure components itself are underutilized. And so that is one of the important factor that you have to factor in, cost, when you're choosing a tool. So choose the right set of tool for based on your business conditions. Site 24/7 is one such tool. There are different tools available in the market. I've come to the end of the session. Don't worry, I'll just take 5 minutes and talk about Site 24/7 and we are done with it. So there are many tools available in the market. Site 24/7 is one such, which is an AI-powered full stack monitoring platform that lets you take care of all your monitoring needs from one single console. So we can do website monitoring, server monitoring, cloud, application performance, real user monitoring, log management, network monitoring. We also have cloud spend analysis and the status IQ for transparent communication with customers. On top of all this, we have all the third-party integrations, alerting, reporting, and custom dashboard options that are required for any software. So if you have to put it in that layers that we talked about, the 4 layers, the end user layer, application, platform, and infrastructure layer, we have monitoring capabilities for all these layers. For end user, we have availability monitoring and synthetic and real user monitoring. For application layer, we have the APM insight that can trace or find out pinpoint the problem in any of the application that is written in any language of your choice, and log management. For the platform, we have plugin monitoring, 100+ plugins out of the box and custom plugin support that is available. And your physical infrastructure layer, you name any component, we have monitoring for it. That's how I would call it as your physical servers, virtual servers, cloud, containers, network, VMware, hypervisors. Everything can be managed using Site 24/7, monitored using Site 24/7. So if you think Site 24/7 is not a new product, many people used to ask us, we have not heard this name. Is it something new in the market? We have been in business for the past 16 years, 15 to 16 years. This is our entire journey. We started in 2006-7 timeframe, where we just started with website monitoring, and based on what we need and based on what the customers' requirements are and based on what the industry requirements are, we have added all these components into our product, and that's a suite today. We use it for our own internal monitoring too. At Zoho, that's how it started. At Zoho, we deploy and we manage our data centers. And for our websites, for our applications, for our infrastructure, we use our own tools. That's a policy at Zoho. We eat our own dog food. So that's very challenging actually, because the first customers are ourselves, and we will get hands-on or first-hand all brickbats to see if the product is working fine or not. So that's the Site 24/7 journey that we have. And if I have to talk about target audience, this product is for many people. IT administrators can use, developers can use, operators, DevOps, QA, website owners, network administrators. Our audience are among the different target people, because they use some portion of it, whichever is relevant for them. All those customizations are possible. Maybe if you are one of them, or any role that you play, you can make for monitoring, you can make use of this. Similarly, the verticals, we have customers from across all the verticals, from IT, financial, manufacturing, healthcare, education, banking, retail. We have a complete a wide span of verticals, people who use our product. Simply that any business on the cloud have websites and you have some components to be monitored, you can make use of the product. There are different plans available. There is a free version available. You can try it wherever required. And we are hosted on Zoho's data center. Zoho has data centers across the globe. We have 10 different data centers in 5 different regions. In each region, we have a primary and a secondary data center. Customers can choose their data center so that their data resides within the geographical boundary of that particular region. So all of Zoho's products is on Zoho's data center. Site 24/7 is also hosted in Zoho's data center. Being a cloud provider, we do take privacy, security, and compliance very seriously, and we get all the required certifications and audit. We go through strict audit internally, externally, and make sure we ensure that customers' privacy and security is important and at all the layers that we talked about. So that almost brings to the end of the presentation. The last 45 minutes or so, I've been talking about how applications have evolved from what it was 20 years ago to what it is today, but still we continue to develop applications, and how cloud and software development itself have changed. The future of work is going to be more mobile first customers and remote working employees, and what are some changes that we have to bring into our processes so that we can adopt them. And about observability, its pillars and metrics, traces, and logs, and how it will help a person to take care of what needs to be done in an environment, to the tools that are available, and Site 24/7 being one such tool, which is an AI-powered full stack monitoring platform. I forgot to include the 6 months free subscription that we would be giving. Vinash will post it in the chat. As part of giving back to the community, we include, or we would like to give 6 months free subscription for the product. So I just want to finish my presentation with another favorite quote of mine, and which is called as the Red Queen's quote. I'm sure some of you or must be aware of. This is from the book Alice in Wonderland. I don't remember reading this book when I was a child, but I still remember reading it to my children. So the quote goes like this. It's called Red Queen's quote. The quote goes like this: you have to be running as fast as you can in order to stay in the same place. And if you want to make any progress, you have to run twice as fast as you can. So why I'm bringing this here is this is very relevant for individuals and for businesses too. Technologies keep evolving and changing. We have to keep ourselves updated, otherwise we'll be outdated. So as individuals, it's important for us to do that. And as an organization too, we look at all the newer technologies that are coming up, learn about them, and try to make sure we include them as part of our products, rebuild or change wherever required, so that the technologies are included in the product and pass that benefit to customers, and make sure it's all taken care seamlessly. And that's something we focus on. So I thought this, and as an individual too, this is very relevant. We have to be aware of what's happening in the industry. Thank you so much for your time, for patiently listening through the session. So you can reach me personally, my personal email and my social media handles. And for any support with respect to the product, you can write to me or to the support email ID that's available here. Our team will be happy to help you and assist you with any demo request. I haven't gone into the demonstration of the product at all. I just wanted to give why tools are important, and there are many tools available, and Site 24/7 is one such. So if you are interested in learning the depth of the product, we can arrange one-on-one sessions and demo by our support and pre-sales team who can help you with this. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was a really good presentation. There was a lot there. Woo. Before we did this tonight, I don't usually talk about what I do in my day job, but so I'm actually a DevOps consulting manager, and
Okay.
I had this conversation during my one-on-ones with one of my report directs today, where he was telling me he's in the middle of doing a jump start for a client, and that's introducing the client to DevOps and tools and processes and things like that, and there are different products that they want to be using for their pipelines and stuff. And he's like, well, the client's just thinking along the lines of like, I just want to do this. I just want to get this done. And it's a data client that he's working with. So it's a little different for them. And I'm like, no matter. It's all about teaching the people and the process and products. And I just love how you said it. You show like a picture and a quote of a hammer. I mean, right before you went to the hammer
Yes.
slide, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, perfect. Just a great analogy there. So thank you so much for your time today. I know it's early in the morning, right? For you, what time is it for you?
Yeah, it's 6:23 now. We started at
Okay.
5:30. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
My
thank you so
children are
much for your
still
time.
sleeping. I'll just finish off before they wake up for the school.
Oh, good. All righty.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much for taking your time today. I know it's early in the morning. Thank you again.
No problem.
And
Thank you.
Avinash, are you still here in the US? Or are you back home, or where are you now?
Yeah, he's a person traveling crazily. I think he's
Yeah.
now at. Let him talk. Yes, Avinash, where are you? What time is it?
I'm in Australia now.
Australia. Oh
See,
my gosh.
see?
I mean, you're just all over the place. So
Yeah.
well, when you're in Chicago, let me know. We'll definitely go to dinner or something. And then you can meet
Right.
my wife and my family and stuff. And it'd be great to see you in
Would love
person.
to sometime. Yeah.
Yes. So
I like to brave the wind there sometime soon.
um does anybody have any other questions?
Avinash, can you post the?
I did already.
He did. He did.
Yeah, okay. Okay,
Is it
perfect.
okay if I
Thank you.
put that into the
Yes,
description for
Yes,
the YouTube
please.
video?
yes,
Okay.
yes, you can.
Okay. Scott, I'm gonna help you unmute. See if you want to say something. Oh, nope, I can't unmute him. So
Fine. Perfect.
That's okay.
Okay.
Paya, did you have any questions?
She's on
Mute,
mute.
mute.
Sorry about it. Just a comment, Raji. It was a pleasure listening to you. So thank you for your time. Really a very interesting spiel by you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for sharing your content with us tonight. I know on the slide you have your email address and everything like that in your social media
Yes.
channels. So I'll probably put that in the content too as well, the description, in case people want to reach out to you. They can just copy and paste it and get there faster. I won't put your email address, at least so that way
Okay.
if a bot does start copying and pasting it, it'll get you on Twitter.
Okay. Fine.
Where all the bots live. So but thank you again so much.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, guys.
And then
Bye.
Thank you all.
for
Yes.
December, we'll have a speaker from one of my friends. He's from ShipT. He's going to be talking about how he overcame some of the challenges when it came to dealing with large volumes of data and observability. So new speaker, very rookie. He's only done one talk. So this will be his first user group he'll be talking to ever. And I met him online, or actually I met him in real life in Alabama, which was weird.
Okay.
So
Right.
yes, that's a
Richard,
rural part of the United
one quick
States.
note here. Just see if you want to do that in the month of December, because it's the fag end of, I mean, we're already in the holiday season. So it's much more ideal to do that sometime in January rather than doing it in December. That's one thing. And second thing, as I suggested, see if you can, rope in all the other groups to be part of the virtual session rather than going solo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, these two suggestions from my side, and take that with a grain of salt.
Okay. No, those have been good points. I'm gonna send you an email and I'll introduce you to the people in the other. I don't know. I know they started product specific meetup
That's okay.
groups. Like one of the guys started a AWS user group in Columbus, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that was pretty big and popular
Right.
there. So I've definitely introduced you to everyone else, and then hopefully.
Right.
And I really liked your slide, by the way, when you showed the products and you were product agnostic. You were like, "Oh, these are clouds," and you showed a function app and a Lambda, and I was like, "Oh, that's so cool."
Okay.
Yes. Thank you again.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Bye,
Have
everybody.
a nice time. Bye.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.